Bitcoin is making headlines, currently sitting at a little over $98,000, just shy of the $100,000 mark. This surge is driven by key events shaping the crypto landscape, and it's demanding attention from all corners of the financial world. This isn't just a typical market move. It's the kind of action that demands attention from even the harshest critics. If you're here, it's because you understand that what's unfolding isn't merely a passing trend. It's a financial evolution happening in real time. Today, we're going to dig into what's driving this massive movement, the political shifts under Trump, the regulatory upheaval with Gensler's departure, and the strategic moves by major financial institutions like BlackRock. Stick with me here. I'll break down why Bitcoin is at this crucial point and why the road ahead could redefine the financial system as we know it. We're not just talking numbers here. We're talking about a shift in power, a transition in the very foundation of how we think about money, wealth, and who controls it. This is about opportunity, risk, and the real possibility of a new financial order. From individuals challenging institutions and the decentralization of finance to how it has the potential to reshape our economic future. How does this surge is impacting the broader market, altcoins, blockchain projects, and even the traditional stock market? Everything is connected, and as Bitcoin moves, it creates ripples that are felt across the entire financial ecosystem. So, whether you're a seasoned investor or just someone curious about what's happening, stay tuned. We've got a lot to cover. Let's begin with President Trump's influence. Regardless of where you stand on him, one thing is undeniable. Trump is back, and he's already stated his plans about crypto. His stance on Bitcoin is in harmony with the wider crypto community. President Trump has hinted at the US establishing a national Bitcoin reserve, an idea that, until recently, seemed highly unlikely in traditional financial circles. Think about it. America holding Bitcoin alongside gold and treasury bonds. It's a signal that the financial establishment is shifting and that the old guard is starting to see Bitcoin as more than just a fringe asset. This kind of rhetoric is sending shockwaves through both Wall Street and Main Street. It's a declaration that Bitcoin is here to stay, not just as a speculative asset, but as an integral part of the global financial landscape. And it's not just empty words, there's real momentum behind this idea. And it's forcing everyone, from hedge fund managers to everyday investors, to reconsider their positions. The implications here are huge. If the US starts stockpiling Bitcoin, it sets a precedent that other nations might follow. Imagine a world where countries compete not just for gold reserves, but for digital reserves. Bitcoin becomes a strategic asset, a hedge not just against inflation, but against global instability. The stakes are higher than they've ever been, and President Trump's return to the political scene is lighting a fire under this movement. But it's not just about what President Trump says, it's about what he represents. He's a populist, someone who's always positioned himself as being against the establishment, and Bitcoin fits perfectly into that narrative. It's the anti-establishment currency, the asset that says, we don't need traditional banks, we don't need the old systems. President Trump embracing Bitcoin is a symbol of that larger shift, and it's resonating with a lot of people who feel left behind by the traditional financial system. Then there's the regulatory front. Gary Gensler, a prominent critic of crypto's rapid growth, is stepping down. To say this is big news is an understatement. Gensler's been the face of the SEC's hardline approach, the guy who kept innovation on a tight leash. And now, with him out of the picture, there's an opening for new leadership. What does that mean for Bitcoin? Freedom, or at least the possibility of a more open, less combative relationship with regulators. It's a window of opportunity, and the market is responding with optimism. However, let's be realistic. This doesn't guarantee smooth sailing. It's simply an indicator that we may be entering a new regulatory phase. With Gensler gone, there's a chance for a fresh perspective at the SEC, one that might be more willing to engage with the crypto community instead of fighting it tooth and nail. This isn't just about loosening restrictions, it's about creating an environment where innovation can thrive without the constant threat of regulatory crackdown. Investors are hopeful but cautious. The truth is, the regulatory landscape is still a battleground, and while the exit of a major opponent is a victory, it doesn't mean the war is over. The SEC's next move will be critical. Will they appoint someone who's willing to embrace crypto, or will the new leadership double down on control? For now, the market is optimistic, but it's a fragile optimism, one that could easily turn if the winds change direction. This is why every investor needs to stay informed, stay vigilant, and be ready for anything. The regulatory environment is one of the biggest factors that will determine whether Bitcoin can maintain this upward trajectory, or if we're headed for another rough patch. And let's face it, regulatory uncertainty has always been one of the Achilles heels of crypto. Now let's talk about the institutions. We're not just seeing retail investors piling in. This time, it's the heavyweights. BlackRock, Fidelity, you name it. They're all getting involved through Bitcoin ETFs. This is a big deal. ETFs make Bitcoin accessible to a broader audience, those who have traditionally been wary of crypto. It's giving Bitcoin an air of legitimacy that's long been missing, and that's what's driving a lot of this upward pressure. Traditional finance institutions are now embracing Bitcoin, recognizing its potential as a legitimate asset class, one that can hedge against inflation and offer portfolio diversification. But here's the reality. With big money comes big expectations and big volatility. The price swings we're seeing, they're not going anywhere. In fact, they might just get wilder as more institutional cash floods in. Institutions provide a level of stability, but they also bring immense scale. And when they move, they do so with significant impact. This means when they buy, prices can skyrocket, and when they sell, the price can plummet just as dramatically. We're in uncharted territory. The institutional backing is a double-edged sword. On one hand, it means Bitcoin is becoming entrenched in the financial system, harder to ignore, harder to suppress. On the other hand, it means that the stakes are getting higher, and the moves are getting more dramatic. For the average investor, this means more opportunity, but also more risk. You have to be ready for the ride, because it's going to be anything but smooth. And let's not forget that institutions play by different rules. They have the capital to influence markets in a way that individual investors simply can't. When an institution like BlackRock decides to move billions in or out of Bitcoin, it has a massive impact. This could mean more stability in the long run, but in the short term, it could lead to extreme price movements. The dynamics are changing, and everyone needs to be aware of what that means for their investment strategy. It's not just about holding anymore. It's about being strategic, staying agile, and recognizing that the landscape is evolving. So what does this mean for you? It's exhilarating, it's terrifying, and it's exactly why so many of us are here. This is the kind of movement that defines markets. It's the moment where fortunes are made and lost. If you're in the game, you already know that. You know that Bitcoin doesn't move in a straight line. It's a roller coaster, and that's part of the thrill. But let's be real, this kind of movement isn't without risk. Bitcoin remains one of the most volatile sectors of modern finance, driven by factors like regulatory uncertainty, market sentiment, and macroeconomic trends. For every person cashing in, there's someone else biting their nails, waiting for the inevitable correction. If you're here for the ride, buckle up, because it's not over yet. This isn't just about price, it's about conviction. The belief that Bitcoin represents something fundamentally different, something better, a way to take control of your financial future, to step outside the traditional systems that have held so much power for so long. But with that belief comes volatility, uncertainty, and risk. If you're in this, you have to be ready for the highs and the lows. And right now, we're close to a high, but what comes next is anyone's guess. For seasoned crypto investors, this isn't your first cycle. You've witnessed Bitcoin's dramatic rises, steep falls, and resilient comebacks. You know that with every new all-time high comes a wave of euphoria, and often a crash that brings everyone back to earth. This is the cyclical nature of the crypto market: boom, bust, and recovery. But what makes this time different is the sheer scale of it all. Institutional investments, political shifts, regulatory changes, all of these forces are converging in a way we haven't experienced before. That's what makes this moment so pivotal. As we wrap up, let's take stock. Bitcoin is approaching 100,000, And while the momentum feels strong, it's crucial to stay cautious. But remember, this is a market that runs on belief, on speculation, and on the idea that maybe, just maybe, the future doesn't have to look like the past. At the time of recording, Bitcoin is well on its way to that milestone, currently sitting at $98,408.70. Whether it blasts past 100K or takes a detour, one thing's certain, we're witnessing financial history unfold. Don't just observe it, understand it. Take the time to educate yourself, to grasp the forces at play, because this isn't just about making a quick buck. It's about being part of something bigger, a shift that could redefine what money means, who controls it, and how it works for all of us. And remember, while the headlines might focus on the numbers, the real story is about people. People like you, who are taking a chance, who are betting on a different kind of future. Whether Bitcoin hits 100,000 tomorrow or takes a step back, what matters is the journey we're all on together. This is financial history in the making, and you're a part of it. Don't just sit on the sidelines. Engage, learn, and be ready for whatever comes next. Because in the end, Bitcoin isn't just about profits. It's about challenging the status quo, about questioning the systems that have dictated our financial lives for so long. It's about the idea that maybe we can do things differently, that maybe we can create a system that works for more people, not just the privileged few. That's why we're here, and that's why this matters. So let's keep pushing, keep questioning, and keep believing in the possibility of a better future. If this video helped you see the bigger picture, don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's stay ahead of the curve together, because in the world of crypto, being early is everything. The landscape is constantly shifting, and the only way to navigate it is to stay informed and stay connected. Join us, and let's ride this wave together. And if you've got thoughts, if you've got questions, drop them in the comments. Let's make this a conversation, because the more we share, the stronger we all become. Crypto is about community, about learning from each other, and about building something that's bigger than any one of us. So subscribe, comment, and let's keep moving forward together.